Hello everyone, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about Tropical Cyclone IN-FA. I know it's a weird name, and you might be thinking, well, where is that? Well, it's actually in the Western Pacific, pretty much impacting China right now, and we're going to be talking about it in today's video. Before I get started, however, be sure to like the video and subscribe, and with those notifications on, because it definitely does help my channel grow, and you guys will get the latest and best weather forecasts. And let's just get started with today's video. So here is IN-FA, from the Tropical Tidbits. I think this is the 8 p.m. yesterday update. We're getting more updates in. I think it has weakened a bit since then. But as of then, winds of 65 knots. Now remember, they don't use the same system we do. They just pretty much call it tropical cyclone or major tropical cyclone. We call it, obviously, by American definition, this would be a Category 1 hurricane. Maybe it has weakened a bit since then. Pressure is pretty low, however, 968 millibars. That is some pretty low pressure. All right, so here is a tropical cyclone. Right, you can still see it spinning around right there, and this is pretty much mainland China right here. So it's pretty much coming close to a landfall. And the last couple of loops, so this first loop is, I believe the first loop is about 1 o'clock this morning, and the final loop is 8 o'clock this morning. That's basically like a 6 or 7 hour satellite loop. Really hasn't moved much since then, you notice. All right, and notice the thunderstorms, how they're moving out this way. All right, that means it could be getting sheared off, and those islands to the north could be getting some rain bands. But the main system is the main core of it is right in there. So that is where IN-FA is sitting right now. All right, sea surface temperature anomalies, very hard to see, but it's pretty much right in here. So it just moved out of some cooler waters, which probably will weaken it a little bit. Now it's sitting in some slightly warmer waters, but now we're getting close to land interaction. So probably not much more strengthening. So you can see, now I'll zoom in for you guys so you guys can see, but on the top right, notice this, maximum significant wave heights were 25 feet. 25 foot waves, that is a lot. All right, and by forecast, right, so this is forecast as of this afternoon, winds will be 50 knots, so 60 miles an hour, and gusts up to 65 knots, which is 75 miles an hour. So still hurricane force gusts here. This is pretty much where the storm is sitting, right about here. All right. Now, again, this afternoon, they have a forecast to be right here. It's pretty much sitting there right now. All right, so kind of moving maybe a bit ahead of schedule. But Shanghai is pretty much going to be right in the brunt of it here, right on that north side of center. So you're probably going to get the brunt of it in Shanghai, or even areas just south. All right. Then it continues to move northwest, and then kind of like hook itself to the north and northeast. Still maintaining tropical storm force winds, mind you. Right? Look, 35 knots. This is 35 knots in here, all the way inland. That's 40 miles an hour, or 41. So that is still, it doesn't even become a tropical depression until out here. So this is Tropical Cyclone IN-FA here, and of course it's going to be impacting mainland eastern China in a pretty big way. Now, Beijing, we're going to have to watch out for Beijing because even though you're technically not in the cone, even though this is a much fatter cone than what we're used to in the National Hurricane Center, still, you can still see some impacts if this does track a bit. Maybe it tracks a bit further west before heading north. So Beijing, still be on the lookout for some maybe rain bands potentially from the storm system. Now looking at the current low position, again, this was as of 0Z. Now remember, you got to remember the time zones are different over there. But this was as of 8 o'clock yesterday. And you can see pretty much sitting right here. I bet you the low is right about here now. Kind of like, I think the bay that is south of Shanghai. I can't quite recall the name right now. So here's GEFS tracks here. And you can see the reds is the lower pressures. Orange is slightly higher pressure. Right? So, of course, weakening over inland. That's what's to be expected. But still, remaining very strong. Below, pretty much all the models have it remaining below 1,000 millibars of pressure. Coming all the way up eastern China here. Maybe even in the Russia after that. All right, so looking at GEPS model tracks, right? So as you can see, red lines here, then moving westbound, and of course, where does it go after that? The models sort of disagree. It's like a flip. It's like a scramble, like a one man for all kind of situation. But just know that Shanghai is pretty much right in the brunt of it as it continues to move westbound. And we're going to start to look at some models here right now. So here is the HWRF model and those relative humidity. Now I like looking at this because you can point out the surface and mid-level centers on this map. So surface center is indicated by the red. Our mid-level center is right here. So not perfectly stacked, but pretty close together. And that's what you want to see here. It's not perfectly stacked, but it's close together. But you want it to be perfectly stacked, obviously. So here is, this is like 5 p.m. this afternoon. Your mid-level center is here. Your surface center is there. So becoming closer stacked, but at this point, it's already going to be making its landfall. And of course, these times are all in Eastern time. But as you can see, moving north, this is 9Z on Monday. All right. And notice as we head towards 5 p.m. Monday, remember, this is Shanghai pretty much down here. So it hasn't moved much really since then. This is 5 p.m. Eastern time Monday. This is 21Z. All right. And look, we're still seeing those enhanced moisture here on the eastern side for places like Shanghai. This is like 5 a.m. on Tuesday. Still, now the mid-level center and low-level center are pretty much stacked. But of course, now it's over land. So not much weakening according to the HWRF model. All right. Rain is also going to be very heavy. All right. Let's look at some of the rainfall here. Moving to the west. Of course, Shanghai, you're pretty much getting it right now. You're going to start if not, starting to get the bands pretty soon. May not even end for you guys. Like, look, Shanghai pretty much sits right around here, right? So you guys are still getting it overnight Monday into Tuesday. 3Z on Tuesday, right? And the rain might not end there until maybe later in the day or midday on Tuesday, all right, at 21Z. So looking at the winds, 50 miles an hour right now. Of course, could remain a tropical storm all the way over land and kind of drops off a little bit. Remaining a tropical storm all the way through right here. So it may not even be until 3Z or very late Tuesday night and early Wednesday before this drops below tropical storm status. Right? Because it's a lot of energy packed in with this system. GFS, again, pretty much same thing here, moving towards the west. And if we look at the rainfall here, here's some of the rainfall through Shanghai. Then it continues to move westbound over northern China. And still, look at the rainfall, though. It's still very heavy, even over land. The rainfall doesn't go away. Like, the rainfall doesn't weaken, all right, when you're talking about a storm moving over land. That's the wind that weakens. The rainfall doesn't. So here's the European model. Very strong system here as of 0Z on the 25th. And this is pretty much tonight, Eastern time. There's the low. Still pretty compact, not quite as strong because it's over land. But then continue to move towards the north here. All right, and then potentially probably out this way as we head farther over time. So Beijing, it's going to be a close call for whether you guys get this or not. But impacts are going to reach far inland, right? And look at this. We still have 5,000 feet winds of about 50, 60 miles an hour all the way through Thursday night, Friday night, and then kind of like zips on north from there. So GFS, rainfall totals, as we wrap it up here, over 6 to 10 inches near Shanghai and parts of eastern China. And then where the low tracks after that, we can still see 2 to 4 plus in those remnant tracks. And Canadian model, pretty much same thing here. 6 to 10 plus inches of rain, of course, because we're in the Western Pacific. This is all showed in millimeters, right? But I'm used to the colors of the graphics, so I know that dark red and yellow means 6 to 10 inches. Potentially 150 to 300 millimeters of rain, so that is a pretty good chunk of rainfall, of course, so do keep that in mind. So rain, wind, all big impacts here for eastern China, Shanghai, maybe even Beijing further down the road. So thank you guys for watching today's video. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.